Okay, hello. Hello, my darlings. It's Michaela. So I am totally excited to have this talk, this conversation about the best time to eat cookies. And I will say, I'm not surprised that it also had the best response. So I hope many come now and or many listen to this recording. Hi, Mickey. Hi, my dear. So my whole point in sharing this is part of like my mini mission to help people understand A, that there are so many angles to weight loss, and B, there's so much strategy that we can implement all the time. So I help people go through a larger transformation. We'll talk about that, which makes weight loss so much easier, but still makes these tactics useful / more useful even. But the whole deal is that we have a lot of say regarding how we're making our body respond. So I think we all know that calories are consequential regarding weight loss, but honestly, hormones seem to like trump that in some respects. I'm sure there's a point of no return regarding, we can't overcome this regarding amount of food, but hormones matter majorly. So the more we understand about how we can impact our hormones to our advantage versus just like a cookie is bad if I want to lose weight or a salad is good, it's far more nuanced than that. And so I want to share some really straightforward things. I hope people take notes, honestly, because you should just use this shit. All right. So I think we know like cookies are not the best thing for weight loss. And so the reason why is because they have the wicked combination of high sugar and high fat. Basically, it's like if you want to gain weight quickly, eat a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of fat together. That's like fast weight gain. It's like the standard American diet is really the truth. So in general, we want to pick one fuel that we are predominantly utilizing. Personally, I am in the camp of fat, but if you're going to eat more carbohydrates in general, you should not have a lot of fat in your diet. So it's one camp or the other, or maybe kind of like a moderate amount, also with a substantial amount of protein. But high carbs, high fat is just like instant weight gain. And that's what cookies hold. Anyway, so another reason like why cookies are not amazing for weight loss is just because it's easy to eat a ton of them. They're so delicious and not feel full. Okay, great. But we still love them. They're probably like my favorite dessert food. So how do we eat them best? So basically the thing that kicked this off for me, so I'm going to tell a story that motivated this sharing, and I'm going to tell you like what everyone did wrong, which is why I thought to share this. And then I'm going to talk about the best time to eat cookies. We're going to talk the worst time and then the best time. So I am in an all women's choir, and it's become this kind of like casual cookie club, which is like, that's so fun, like, and like not the best time to eat cookies. So at any rate, we had a break at like 7 p.m. and people, it's like, oh, you know, Heather made these like oatmeal and caramel cookies, and everyone just like toddled off and got them and ate them. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, like this is the worst time to eat cookies. And I'll talk about what I did. The reason why it was the worst time to eat cookies was because they went to eat a cookie only. So meaning that not only, so this cookie is not buffered with anything. So it's straight up sugar and a lot of fat. There's nothing to slow that release of sugar in our bloodstream, helping to mitigate the impact of insulin. So it was the very opposite of that. It was unbuffered, higher blood sugar raise, higher insulin response. The reason why we don't want to have a lot of insulin in our system is because essentially it makes it easier to store fat, harder to access it later. So we don't want to put ourselves in situations where we're requiring that our body dumps out a lot of insulin because of a high blood sugar raise. Another reason why that was a terrible thing to do was because they were eating another time in their day. So if you come to Planet Me, you'll hear more and more. So I only eat once a day. The women that I work with get to eating twice a day. Some end up eating once a day, but this is a process that takes time. The reason why it's advantageous to eat less, and even if it's 3 times a day, hi Corey, hi my dear, even if it's 3 times a day, that is better than 5 times a day, 6 times a day, an indiscriminate number of times a day. And the reason why is because every time our blood sugar raises, insulin comes with it. The more we do that, the more of an insulin-resistant environment we create. The more insulin resistance we have, the more insulin the body requires to do the same job. Insulin is a storage hormone. It stores fat, it stores sugar, and once there's no more space for the sugar, it goes to fat, and then it blocks our fat from being used. So we don't want to eat more and more and more times in the day. That's independent of the amount of food that we're eating, if that makes sense. And we'll get to that about the best time to eat cookies. This is the worst time to eat cookies. And I hope this is useful to spell this out too. It was also the worst time to eat cookies because it was later in the day. It was 7 p.m. And so the thing that I'm just gonna say about this is when we eat later in the day, I am a increasing disciple of eating earlier in the day. So if you eat later in the day one night, is that a big deal? No. Routinely, not a great move. High carbohydrates, later at night, extra meal that you didn't anticipate, just like a series of not supportive. When the sun goes down, our body releases melatonin to get us ready for sleep. Melatonin creates a more insulin-resistant environment. Just like an FYI, your body requires insulin to store fat. If it's not present, you're not storing fat. So it's like, well, so the more insulin, the more fat we're storing. So I hope this hormone registers if we weren't clear on this before. So when we eat later in the day, we have to produce more insulin because of the nature of the sun being down and certain hormones being present, namely melatonin. So actually, I'll save that last bit in the best time to eat cookies. So anyway, later at night, less ideal. Later in the day, less ideal regarding our own movement. So it's actually if you've heard things about oh, you should take a walk after dinner, that's a great move. And it's because of shuttling sugar out of the bloodstream, but putting it into muscle. And so utilizing it, helping to prevent a spillover into fat cells. So having the opportunity to move after you eat, even if it's casual, even if you just have slightly more time in the day to put your laundry away, to play with your children, to whatever, get yourself ready for work tomorrow. You help to utilize that blood sugar, hi Leanne, hi my dear, versus store it. Okay, so earlier in the day is always better, and it's always better for carbohydrates. All right, I think maybe that's that. I wrote most of these. Oh, and this is what I was gonna say too. So another thing, if we're all familiar with this, if you wanna think of this cookie as kind of an appetizer, right? It's what does eating a small amount of food do? It stimulates our appetite. So to have a cookie, which seems benign, right? This is delicious. Oh my God, thank you so much. Of course I wanna have one. It does all of this shit based on how you're eating it, the time you're eating it, what you have around it. So not helpful. And so the thing that I wish to share here is that the cookie is not the problem, really. It's how we're doing it. So now we're going to talk about the best time to eat cookies. So the best time to eat cookies is only with a meal. So, and we're going to kind of go in like easy to do, obvious to like crazy. Okay. So like we can go big on how to do this best. Like if you want to be like, you know, a grade A student, if you want to like at even just one day, especially a holiday, I'll say that. If you want to do this like to a T, there's a way to like really maximize this shit. Okay. And that's my goal for like people to understand like how it's never the end. It's never like a big problem if we're conscious about it and just doing things deliberately. And that doesn't mean not eating cookies. So only with a meal. And so what that means is, so if you eat, I'm going to encourage everyone, Leanne is a lovely fat burner, who eats twice a day, or sometimes once a day. But for everyone else here who is not a fat burner, who listens to this, who is not a fat burner, I'm going to heavily encourage you, if weight loss is a goal and if health is a priority, please, please, please deliberately eat 3 times a day or less. And so if you're going to have whatever the heck you want, a cookie, have it with your meal. And so because it's being offered at 7 p.m. on a Sunday night after you've had dinner, and say you're like an early to bedder, like Mickey, it's like there's not a lot of time in between eating this thing and when you need to like be eyes closed on the pillow. So what I did was I took it home, and maybe I'll like expand a little bit more at the end of this. Have it with a meal. Okay. And so basically that prevents that extra spike of blood sugar, that extra release of insulin, which we do not need. This enables you to like still have the thing, just have it with a meal. Additionally, that means that you are going to I'm going to say this too. Whenever you're going to eat for fun, cookies are fun, right? They're not fuel. Always have them with fuel. So basically, having them with a meal only. If you're eating 3 times a day, you're not snacking. Snacking is like, you know, oh, I'll just have a few of these. Have it with your meal. It's a big deal, is really the truth. Have it at the end of your meal. And so when you do that, that means that this cookie, once again, high sugar, is going to be buffered. So granted, there's fat in the cookie. I don't know the exact ratio in terms of like cookies are high octane. So does that fat buffer them at all? It might, compared to like, you know, eating cotton candy, drinking soda. But the truth is, having things that are more substantial along with it, protein, fiber, or an acid, are things that will also slow that release, in addition to fat, slow that release of blood sugar, so it won't be as large of a spike. You won't require as much insulin. That matters. Excuse me. Additionally, when you have it at the end of a meal, you simply have less space. And so what that means is you're just more full. I don't know about anybody else, but I could like easily eat like however many cookies might be available, if that's like all we're doing. But if you have this after a substantial and maybe even supportive meal, you're just going to have less space, so you'll be satisfied with less of them. That's just like a very straight up thing. Additionally, if we're just kind of going down the list of like more and more kind of deliberate actions to create a win-win situation, super easy, right? I'm just going to have this with a meal. I'm just going to take this home and I'm going to have this tomorrow. I'm going to take this home and I'm going to have this with my dinner. Okay, great. We're going to deliberately have it at the end of that meal. Okay, great. We're going to have it during the day. So basically our metabolism is higher and the body is more insulin sensitive when the sun is up, and even more so when the sun is highest. So the more you eat more of your food around the like 10 to 2 range, your metabolism is going to be running at a higher rate because of we are very connected to the sun, and your body's going to be more insulin sensitive. So that's the best time to eat carbohydrates. Actually, not early in the morning. We're actually more insulin resistant then. There's something called the dawn effect. Cortisol levels are higher. It makes our blood sugar higher, our insulin spike more, and we're more resistant, insulin resistant at the end of the day, in the evening, at night when the sun is down. So if we're being strategic about this, if we're being conscious, and again, we're going down a list right now, if you have the opportunity, if you have the wherewithal, take it. I went out for brunch with a few girlfriends on Sunday, and it was like, oh, we're doing this so well. Like, we're eating like sexy, indulgent food, more of it, in the middle of the day, and we're having like a dessert for her birthday in the middle of the day. Like, this is the best. Like, that's the way to do it. And it doesn't always happen that way, and that's perfect. But if you're orchestrating what's going on, if it's like your day with whomever or by yourself, like, this is a really easy way to be deliberate and to be to create more of a win-win situation. Down the list, eating cookies. A great time to eat cookies is actually after or on a day you've done more intense exercise. So basically, when you've done heavier duty resistance work or high intensity intervals, the nature of those exercises are glycogen depleting. They take stored sugar from our muscles because there's an anaerobic element. We're not able to only use fat. It's not an aerobic exercise. We're not walking. We're not running at a moderate pace, which I do not recommend. Walking, please. But high intensity intervals, resistance work, is anaerobic. It becomes anaerobic at times. And so that's when the body needs to pull from stored sugar. So what that means is we have a deficit. We have spaces to fill. So the best time to eat cookies would be on the same day or after a higher intensity workout. And I'm just going to say a little caveat here. So what I'm not encouraging with that is, I lifted weights, I should eat cookies. No. If you are hungry for more sugar, like, do what you need to do. I am not watching over you. Unless I'm watching over you, please be in touch with me about this. But what is most beneficial, if you are someone that enjoys sweets, that enjoys carbohydrates, I'm going to heavily push consistent weightlifting, consistent muscle development, because the truth is, the more muscle you have, the more space you have for stored sugar and for insulin. So it's a smart move. It's like a hedonistic move. Having more muscle on your frame is great for longevity. It's great to avoid pain. It's fantastic to feel able to do fun things, to create a shape that you find sexy and desirable. And it gives you more wiggle room with carbohydrates. Like, in general, there is actually more of a need for more carbohydrates. So if that's something where it's like, I like sweet things, like, that sounds nice, just know that there are vanity, the reasons of vanity, additional ones for strength training. And it's actually health supporting as well. So the more muscle mass you have, the more space you have for stored sugar, and the more insulin receptor sites there are on those muscles. So you have more space for the stuff that you might really enjoy, okay? So I would heavily encourage everyone to do that, and maybe that is even more compelling now that you know that. And then the last place, the best time to eat cookies, and this is as a fat burner, where we have deliberate carb feasts. So this is something, I'll just share this. So we always have a place for cake and cookies and bread and pasta and even alcohol in moderation, should that be someone's desire. And so in general, having more fat helps, having less carbohydrates helps with fat loss. Having periodic spikes of carbohydrates helps with leptin levels, which is another hormone that's consequential for weight loss that prevents us from ever plateauing. So I'll just say this, so many fat burners freak out about our carb feasts in the beginning. They think, oh my God, cookies are bad, right? Like cookies are the things that got me here. Used indiscriminately, used unknowingly, but when there's even a possibility to use them strategically. So not only can we diminish the impact in a variety of ways, but there's also the possibility to actually use them for our goals, which may sound crazy, but is also true. Okay? So the worst, I'm just gonna say this again. The worst time to have cookies is singularly, I'm having a snack. Please never have a snack. And once again, if it's like we are in wine country or on our anniversary trip, you know, it's like all we're doing is sampling today. And it's like, you know what, that sounds great. Like if doing something out of the ordinary, going off course, is periodic and deliberate, that's fantastic. But if it's unconscious and if it's frequent, that's a problem. So in general, we don't snack. Hi, Eleni. Hi, my dear. We don't taste food unless that's what we're doing today. Otherwise, it's like, take it. That's what I did. Oh my God, do I want an oatmeal caramel cookie? Like, fuck yeah, I do. Am I going to have it at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night when I'm trying to go to bed at 10? Absolutely not. So I'm just going to take it home and I put it in my freezer, which is a great place to put baked goods when you don't want them staring you in the face. And what did I do? I had it the next day with my dinner. Sounds great at the end, like dessert. We're not making another time happening. So we don't eat the cookie alone. We don't have a cookie for lunch. Oh, this is only the third time I ate today. Please don't do that. We're not having these multiple meals. We're not doing it later at night. Our body's going to be more insulin resistant. It's going to require more insulin. It's going to store that fat more readily. It's going to prevent us from getting back to using our own body fat for fuel. It's going to mess with human growth hormone in the night if it's close to bed. Blood sugar leaves our system faster. Insulin stays longer. So it's just less of a casual thing that we're doing. Ideally, we're not eating cookies later at night. We're not eating them closer to bed, please. And then also it's like, if we're just having a cookie, which is like, if you're hungry, eat. But just having one cookie can also stimulate your appetite, which is just like, oh, fabulous. So the best time to eat cookies, only with a meal, please. At the end of your meal, ideally. So then we have protein and fiber, maybe an acid, citrus juice, vinegar, potentially more fat to buffer that. During the day, that would be amazing. That would be ideal. Our metabolism is higher during the day when the sun is highest. Our body is more insulin sensitive, less insulin required. We store less of that food as fat. We keep more of the energy from that food to use. Oh my God, we're being so smart. Do it after a higher intensity workout, a strength training workout on the same day. Use that depletion to deliberately put that cookie sugar back into your muscles so that you're just filling a deficit. You're not creating an overflow. In general, little plug, consistent strength training is going to give you more flexibility, both with insulin and with higher octane carbohydrates. It's a great investment of your time and energy for a million reasons, in addition to being able to eat more cookies. And then the best time to eat cookies for a fat burner is on their carb feast, which is like when the body needs more carbohydrates and calories, which resets a certain hormone leptin, which ensures that we never plateau or slow in weight loss. So it's literally using it to our benefit versus just like, ooh, we're just going to kind of weather this less than ideal situation. There's a benefit from having something that's actually a little higher octane, which sounds crazy. So that's it. I hope if this was relevant to you, which I hope it is for everybody. Oh, and I'm going to say this too. Mickey and I are on a Dragon Boat team together. And I'm going to say this for any person that listens to this that is on our team. So something that happens often on practice evenings is going to like a bar afterwards to socialize. Some people have drinks, some people have food, some people have nothing. But often people get popcorn. And so I hope anyone who's on our team listens to this. And I think one thing I'm going to encourage actually is for people to like take lemons and like literally have like a squeeze of lemon juice in their mouth before they eat popcorn, because that acid will actually slow, again, that blood sugar rise. Popcorn is pretty high glycemic. Even if some people think like, oh, it's lower in calorie than like chips or something, it might be, but it's unbuffered once again. And so it makes our blood sugar rise. So Mickey, I think if anybody listens to this, like to have like a squeeze of lemon, we're off season right now, but I feel like people get it as a snack. And so it's like, once again, but if you're going to do it, that would be a better way to do it. So anyway, squeeze a lemon, but fiber, fat, protein, or an acid. So if anyone is having something like that, please don't snack. But if you are, you just want to slow that release. So even if you're having a cookie, I'll just say this, it's like, it would be better if you had coffee and half with it, to have milk with it. Like that protein and fat would be useful to kind of anchor that a bit more, so that we're not doing this like, ooh, now I want to eat more stuff after this. Anyway, so that is it. So my main goal in this, like I said at the start, is just to convey that strategy is real. When people are either losing weight or maintaining a lower weight, perhaps that is just their body type, maybe. But there's a lot that you can do. And so the more you understand as to just how we work, the easier it is for you to have what you want. And the thing that I love about just some of these simple, straightforward strategies is that they don't necessarily feel like sacrifice. Like, would it have been so much more fun to eat that cookie on Sunday night versus Monday earlier in the day? Maybe. But honestly, like, I didn't want more. Like, I feel like I could have easily like wanted way more than a freaking cookie if I hadn't eaten it with other things. So anyway, strategy will always serve you. So if you are someone that is interested in such things, but even really like a bigger change. So I mentioned the best time to have cookies really is at your carb feast. And so that's when your body actually could use it. Like it's a total win-win. It's a total have your cake and eat it too. So I help women over 40, men as well, lose 8 to 15 pounds in a month by going through a mitochondrial reconstruction. So where we're literally helping to repair or rebuild the energy producing unit of the cell, the mitochondria. And what ends up happening with that is we do it to the tune that the body is now able to utilize our own body fat. Sugar is super easy. And as a fat burner, we still burn sugar too. But sugar is meant for times of stress, fight or flight. Fat is meant for every day. We're ambling along. We're not doing anything crazy or radical or intense. That's for sugar. And so with it, when we set our bodies up to do this, it makes us easily less hungry. automatically less hungry, free of cravings. Cookies are still delicious. We're just not beholden to them anymore. We have plenty of energy. Our aging is slowed. That's what happens when we eat less often. Every time we eat, we're telling ourselves, we're instructing ourselves to divide. There are only so many cell divisions before they're gone. So we slow that process. Helps with digestion. It affects basically every system of the body. Makes weight loss easier, and it makes weight gain harder, which is nuts. And so I think that a lot of us kind of believe like weight loss has to go a certain way. It has to be challenging. It has to feel like deprivation. You have to be hungry. You can't eat certain things. And it's just not the whole story. And it's certainly not the whole story if you're actually using your own body fat for fuel. I shared a video, I think yesterday, and I put it in an email that I sent out last night, which just talked about when you have an element of fasting, which is what we do, intermittent fasting, we get the body set, comfortable, like not hungry, working differently. And then when that is present, the body just easily uses fat for fuel. Very differently than just eating less food. If we just reduce calories and we're still eating frequently, the body actually feels deprived. Every time we eat, we're either running on food or we're running on fat. And when we're running on food, that insulin stays in our system longer and it blocks our fat from being able to be used. So if you've got a body that requires so many calories and we're looking to lose some fat from it, but the body can't access it because insulin's in the way, it starts to feel compromised. So our metabolism slows, muscle gets broken down. And actually often the body will conserve fat because it feels compromised. So it's a different experience than getting primed to use your fat, feeling super comfortable, and then just running on it. And so with that, your muscle is preserved, your metabolism stays high, your energy is high, and you're just kind of comfortably working off of this like endless pile of energy that you're in. So anyway, if any of that sounds interesting to you and stuff like this, my goal, there are fat burners here, which I'm so happy about, but my goal is to teach this thinking, this understanding. The body works in certain ways, and the more we understand about it, or even if we're just retaining some of the simple things that are directly related to certain things that we care about, then we can have more of what we want. And we can make decisions that, again, they don't feel like sacrifice. They feel simple. So anyway, if you have curiosity at all about such a state or a process, please be in touch or check out our sugar quiz. I'll put that down below in the comments. Just to see what fuel you're burning predominantly. That can just be eye-opening for people. And so it might be like, everything's great. I'm so happy with where I am. I know what I'm doing. That's fantastic. Or if it's like, maybe this is why things aren't changing as I desire. That could be useful too. So anyway, check that out. There are videos following should you wish. There's an opportunity to have a call and a conversation should you wish to have a conversation about where you are or where you might wish to go. Super happy to do that as well. All right. I hope this was great. I'm so happy that people came to this. I hope this was useful. And if you put any of these things in place and they help you to feel less deprived and more kind of, able, honestly, and in control, a little more at choice, I'd love to hear about it. Okay. I hope this was great. Thank you all for being here. And until next time.